Okay, so let's get started, everybody. And what we're going to do is I'll do a quick introduction. Let's take a look at who am I really quickly. So my name is Andrew Tiffany. I'm a teacher trainer for National Geographic Learning. And today I'm coming to you from Taipei. I'm originally from New Zealand, but I'm based and I live in Taipei at the moment. Okay. So what we're going to be looking at today as we go through is a lesson that I've been using these kinds of lessons for a while. I've been teaching for something like 25 years. It's been a long, long time that I've been teaching. So hopefully I can give you some of that experience today as we're going through the lesson that we're going to look at. Okay. Now I've got a little poll to get us started today. So let's take a look. I'll bring up the poll, and if you can answer the two questions that are in the poll here today, this just lets me know a little bit more about you and see what you do for teaching at the moment. Okay, so if you can see the poll questions, please answer them. You can just tick on the boxes. There we go. Some people starting to do it. Very nice. I'll just give you another 15 seconds or so, just to get an idea of who we've got here today and what you are teaching. Okay, and we will stop it in 3, 2, 1. Okay, and polling. Okay, so here's the results. So a lot of us are teaching a lot of different things. We've got a lot of people teaching young learners, teenagers, and adults, right? So we've got a good mix of people here. And quite a lot of you are teaching your classes online at the moment, which is the situation a lot of us are in. So today, obviously, this lesson that I'm doing for you is an online style of lesson. Just because we've got so many people here today, we won't get you to do too much speaking through the webcam or through your audio. We'll try and keep everybody on mute just to keep it easier for everybody to hear. But we will use the chat box and some other features, okay, to be able to see what's going on. Okay, so today's lesson, as I said, we're using a program called Reach Higher. This is a National Geographic Learning program, which is designed for international school standards, okay? This program could be used in an international school. It could also be used, and it is used in places like North America and places in Europe. And it's for primary school learners, so grade 1 to grade 6, okay? So the level we're going to look at today is level 2. The CEFR rating on this is A2, so it's upper beginner. And the unit is called Water for Everyone. And the objectives here are teaching language and literacy, but we do that with content-based English, okay? So we're learning a lot of language while also learning topics. And if you could hear the sound and the music earlier when we were waiting to start, you would have heard a lot of things about rain and water, okay? And that's the part of this topic is about rain and water, okay? Great. Now I am using a couple of features or tools today. Obviously we're using Zoom and I'm using some features of Zoom. And I'm also using a service called Padlet, which you'll see a little bit later. Both of these things are paid subscription services, but they do have free versions, and everything I'm doing today, you can actually do with the free version, okay? So just so you know, you don't have to pay for these services if you want to do something like what I'm doing today, or there are other tools which do similar things, okay? Okay, now this is what's in this unit. Just very briefly, you can see there's a lot of different objectives here in terms of language, learning strategies, and things like this. So one or two of the things that are a little different, you can see down here, if I put a little mark on here, there's things like learning to read or learning strategies, right? And reading strategies. These are things that you don't normally find in an English as a foreign language kind of program. They're deeper, more difficult strategies. And again, that's because this program is designed as an international standards program, okay? So this is not your typical EFL kind of lesson material. It is designed more for students who are more able in English, okay? Great. Okay, so let's move forward from there. So yes, as I said, we're focusing on language, literacy, and content today, and that's what these things represent in the objectives. Okay, now there's a couple of tools. I've already been using one, which I'm now going to clear. You have, or you should be able to see in the menu bar at the top of your screen, you'll see this red circle which says Annotate, okay? You should be able to click on that and bring up a toolbar which looks something like this, okay? And you should be able to use, say, the stamp feature to put some stamps on the screen or do things like that as I ask you to do them. This is one way we will interact today. So what I'd like you to do is, if you can go to that, the stamp tool, maybe choose the heart and maybe put some hearts on the screen, just like I'm doing right now. There we go. We've got a few people doing it. That's great. Okay. You can go heart crazy if you wish. Okay, but this is just to make sure, hey, we've got some stars too, cool. This is just to know that you can use the tool, okay? So I'm gonna clear all those now. If you can stop stamping, that would be great. Oh, nice, very good. Okay, I'll also use another tool. At the little window which shows you all the people here today, at the bottom, you should see these little icons, okay? Like a yes tick, a no cross, go slower, go faster, these kinds of things, okay? What you can do is, as we're going through the lesson today, I will ask you to use these at different times to give me some feedback, okay? Just very quick feedback about, you know, do you understand, yes or no, right? How do you feel about this, good or not good, okay? So if you can find those tools right now, can everybody just click the yes button? Just click the yes button so I know that you're, yeah, there we go. Good job. So what I can see is I can see the number of people there who respond. So at the moment, I've got 19 yeses, 20 yeses. Okay, I've got a lot of yeses coming in. That's great. Okay, I'm going to clear all those. Great. Okay, so now that we've got the tools ready, let's get started with what we're going to do today. I'm going to switch windows now, and I'm going to go to our classroom presentation tool, which is right here. Okay, so the classroom presentation tool is the main way that we can deliver a lesson, say, if we're on a smart board, or we're doing an online call here, Water for Everyone. So let me open this one up and let's get started. So now you're kind of like my students. I'll ask you to put some things maybe in the chat box as we go along, things like that, just so I can see how you're doing and you can answer some questions for us as we go. Okay, so we're going to start out by looking at this picture. Wow, what can you see in this picture here in the chat box? What can you see here? What is in this picture? As I'm moving it around here. Buckets, yes, Mina. Water, Songkran Day. Okay, someone might know something about this. Buckets, people collecting water or throwing water. Great, okay, where do you think this is? Where do you think this is? Do you know which city or which country this is? Some people are saying Japan, Thailand, China. Someone, Mina knows. Mina, did you see this little sign over here? You can just see the little blue text over here. It says Ginza, right? Okay, this is, if I zoom back out, we can see at the bottom, right down the bottom here, this is in Tokyo, in Japan. People are spreading water onto the streets, recycled water, to cool it down because it's so hot, okay? Very cool. And so today we're going to be looking at this topic, water for everyone. And we always have a big question as we go through this kind of material. And the big question is here. It says, where do we get water? Where do we get water from? So in the chat box, can you type in the chat box, where are some places that we get water from? Where do we get water from? Rivers, cool. What else? The sea, yes, although that is salt water, so that's maybe not so good to drink, right? Rain, good. Dams, a well, nice. A lake, very cool. So we've got lots of different places. The tap, yes, that's true. The tap or the faucet, right? So we get water from a lot of different places, okay? And what I want us to do now is also, I want to have a think about what are the different ways that we use water? How do we use water every day, okay? So what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to show you how I might do this with my students. I'm going to switch screens again. I'm going to jump over to my Padlet tool here. So here I've got a little picture. It says, how much water do we use? We use 329 liters of water every day for every person. Wow, that's a lot of water, right? So what are some of the ways we use water? Now, I have a couple of people who are helping me today, like my students. I don't want everyone to do this because it would be chaos with 170 people. So I've got two people who are here with me, Kitty and Will. They're going to be like how my students would interact with this Padlet tool, because they know how to use it, like my students do when I'm teaching normally. So Kitty and Will, can you put into the Padlet some ways that we use water? Here goes Will. Will's saying to drink. Cool. What else do we do? And so this is exactly what I get my students to do. My students in a class would be able to type in or contribute ideas onto this Padlet, right? What else have we got, Will? To wash. Very cool. Someone said, oh, Ermina says cooking. We've got the shower. Some people are putting in the chat box. This is cool, right? Very nice. What was that one, Will? I missed that one over there too. Okay, we got a few different things. To grow food, yes, we do. Kitty says to shower, to have a bath. Very cool. Kitty, I'm just going to move yours up. Very good. So these are some different ways we use water, okay? Now, I have a quick question for you. Of the 329 liters each person uses every day, in your house, not all of that is in your house, just so you know. Some of that is for growing food, okay? Some of that is for other forms of industry that are not in your home. What about in your home? What is the one thing you do that uses the most water in your home? What do you think it is? In the chat box, what do you think it is? Someone says showering, someone says drinking, washing clothes, taking a bath, okay. Drinking. Actually, drinking is one of the smallest ones, actually. Actually, one of the ones, yeah, there we go, someone got it. Daya got it. The one that we use it for the most is flushing the toilet. When we go to the bathroom and we flush the toilet, that uses more water per person than any other thing you do in the house, including showering, right? So going to the bathroom uses the most water. Okay. Yeah, that's right. 6 to 8 liters each flushing, says Claudia. Very nice. Okay, great. So now that we've talked about this, we're getting, I would use this to get my students to think about how do we use water, right? And then where do we get water from and why do we need so much of it? Okay. Okay, so I'm going to jump back again, go back to here, back to the classroom presentation tool. Now I'm going to move to the piece we're doing today, which is actually in part 2 of this lesson. So we're going to start here on language focus. Okay, great. So you would have heard this little song earlier if you were if you logged in about 5 or 6 minutes early. I'm just going to play the first verse for you really quickly. So let's just listen for a second. You should be able to hear the sound.
What is a pump?
A pump is a machine. We keep it nice and clean with valves and pipes and other parts.
Okay,
this
so I
pump
think
is a
you
machine.
know the tune, right? It's a very common tune. It's the song is also "The Farmer in the Dell" is where that tune comes from. Okay, now we're not going to do this with everybody opening their audio. Please just do it with your audio off, because if you turn your audio on, this will sound crazy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play it again, and if it was my students in class, they would sing along as well. So I'm going to play it, I'm going to sing along, you'll be able to hear me. Just sing it to yourself as we go as well, okay? So please don't turn on your audio, because if you do, we'll have 100 people singing and it will sound crazy, okay? Okay, so just keep yourself on mute, it's fine. Here we go.
What is a
dance along
pump?
if you want as well. A pump is a machine.
A pump is a machine. We keep it nice and clean with valves and pipes and other parts. This pump is a machine. It has a job to do. It does it well for you. It gets fresh water from the ground and brings it up to you. Water from the ground. Yes, water from the ground. Because this pump can do its job. There's water
okay, nice job.
all around.
I pretend I can hear you singing in the background. Very nice. Okay, so can anyone tell me, this is talking about a machine. What machine is it talking about? What machine is it talking about here? In the chat box, can you tell me? What machine? A pump. Very cool. What does a pump do? What does a pump do? It moves water, says Will. Very nice. It moves water. So in the picture here, I'm going to turn on my tools for a second just so I can draw. So in the picture here, we have a pump, right? So here we have a pump. I'm circling it in red at the moment. Okay. And this girl is pushing the handle on the pump, right? She's pushing the handle here. And that makes water come out, right? Of the pump. Now, why?
Andrew, you need to change the screen, Andrew. We're looking at the CPT.
You're meant to be on the CPT, Will.
All right, okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, my mistake.
Sorry, that's fine. You're okay. That's okay. So why is she using a pump? Why is she using a pump to get water? In the chat box, why do you think she's using pumps to get water here? Yeah, she wants to put water in the bucket, but why is she using a pump? Why doesn't she use something else to get the water? Like, why is there a pump here? Why is there no like tap or faucet here? Why do you think? She hasn't got a tap. Okay, Catherine, she hasn't got a tap. So why hasn't she got a tap here? Why do you think there's no tap here? Ayesha says maybe because it's in the countryside or she's in a village. Okay, so maybe she doesn't, maybe this is no pipes in her house, says Claudia. Yeah, so why do you think maybe there's no tap or no pipes in her house? What about this picture kind of tells you that? Maybe there's no electricity, says Melina. Okay, true. Maybe they don't use that kind of pump, right? True. Maybe she's on a small island. We can't see that. Maybe the countryside. Yeah. Does this house look like, what does this house look like? Is this a modern house or not? Yeah, it's not, right? It looks like an older house, maybe an old farmhouse or something like that. So yeah, so this is a way we can get kids understanding about situations that maybe they don't experience, right? Because all of our kids probably experience water just coming out of a faucet or a tap. So using the pictures and using questions, we can get the kids to think like, okay, what's going on in this picture? Why is she doing this? Okay. Okay, that's great. So what we're going to do is let's move forward. Okay. And we're going to look at some words here. So I'm going to zoom in a little. We've got some different words here. There are 4 words here. We have pump, we have a well, we have pipes, and we have a sink. Okay, so here, if we move down a little bit, it says here, a pump is a machine. It draws water up from wells. Oh, okay, so the pump takes the water, and the water starts at the bottom here, and then the water goes up because the pump makes it move, right? Okay, then down, inventions like a water filter clean the water. Now it is safe to drink. Oh, here's a new word as well, inventions, but actually we've seen this word before. We've seen this word before. Okay, so we know what inventions are. Okay, pipes carry water to places at home like the sink. Okay, so we've got the pipes and they take the water up here to the bathtub and to the sink. Okay, so some of these words are a little bit new for us, right? Some of these words are a little bit new. So I'm going to look at what some of these new words are. I'm going to change screens and I'm going to jump to my Padlet again. And I'm just going to go down a little here. And we've got 4 words here. Okay, 4 words here. Now, the first one here, it says pump. And it says a pump is a machine that moves water from one place to another place. And then here's a sentence. A pump takes water from the river to our house. And here's a picture of a pump. Okay, cool. Now this is some fun things I can do with Padlet. So here we have a word, machine, right? Here we have a word, machine. So what I want to do is I want to make another vocabulary card like I did for pump. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a picture from the internet here. So on the side here, we've got some pictures that Google thinks are machines. Now, whoops, there are 4 pictures here. So which of these ones, number 1, number 2, number 3, or number 4? Which one do you think is a good picture for machine? Which one do you think is a good machine picture here? in the chat box. What do you think? 1, 2, 3, or 4? 1, maybe 1. Okay, let's go with number 1. So let's choose that one. It puts it in there. Great. So here's a machine. Okay, now we need to write something about machine. What can we say about a machine? What is a machine? How do we say what a machine is? What can you, if you can type in the chat box, what do you think? It's a tool, that's right. Yes, so a machine, whoops, Daisy, I need to type in here. A machine is a tool, and it's, oh, there's a complicated word because we're only grade 2, mechanical tool, right? Okay, it's a tool that makes something for people, right? Is it alive or is it not alive? It's not alive, right? So it's not like a farm animal, like a horse, because that helps people do things as well, right? Okay, so it makes something for people, or we can say it also helps people to do things, right? So it's kind of a tool, right? Okay, now what I want is we want to have a sentence, right? So let's make a sentence using the word machine. Let's make a sentence using the word machine. What can we say about machine? What can we say? Well, here's an easy one. We could say a pump is a kind of machine. Okay, there's a sentence using the word machine. And so my students could use this card to remember or to study what a machine is, right? Okay, what about a valve? What about a valve? For these two, we'll just do the pictures really quickly. So let's do the valve. What is a valve? Now, a valve we heard in the song. Okay, which one of these is a valve? Is it 1 or 2 or 3 or 4? Which one do you think? Number 1, yeah, that looks like a valve. It says here as well, brass gate valve. It even tells us. Here we go. So there's a picture of a valve and it's loading. There we go. And so again, we could make a definition and a sentence, right? Okay, now what about a pipe? Let's do the pipe really quickly as well. So 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, which one here? And actually you might be like, oh, hang on, this is the wrong pipe. Okay, there's not this type of pipe, is it? Okay, let's find the type of pipe that it is. Maybe this one. Maybe this one's a good pipe, or let me see if there's a better picture down. Oh, there's a good one. Let's use that one. That's a lot of pipes. Okay, here we go. So these are some pictures of pipes. It's just loading here. Go, go, go. There we go. It's loaded in. Okay, so again, I can use this tool. I find this very useful for making these digital cards, almost like digital flashcards for my students that they could then use to study or memorize the words. Okay, great. So another way to use the Padlet tool. Okay, I'm going to jump back again to the screen where we were just a second ago. Okay, so now that we've looked at the different ways that water moves inside the house, okay, we're going to move on just for time. We don't have a lot of time today. We're going to look at this one, cause and effect. Okay, now up here it says at the top, a cause is why something happens, an effect is what happens. Okay, so let me show you a little story here. Let me use the e-visual here. Let's read this little story. What does it say? It says, one day at school, Ella sees water dripping in the classroom sink. Someone forgot to turn off the faucet. This wastes a lot of water. Ella wants to save water, so she makes a poster that says, don't waste water. She puts it over the sink. It works. After that, her classmates save water because Ella's poster reminds them to turn off the faucet. Okay, so let's go back here. And so what do we have? What happened first? So first, Ella put up a poster, didn't she? Okay. So in the cause and effect, this is the cause. This makes something happen. It's why something happens. Okay, but then what happens? When she put up the poster, what happened? When she put up the poster, what happened? In the chat box, what happened next? In the chat box, what happened next? So Ella puts up the poster and then people turned off the tap. Very good. People saved water. Okay. So the effect of the poster is to remind people that they need to stop wasting water. Okay. So the cause is why something happens, and the effect is what happens after. Okay. Easy, right? Okay, great. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to get you to talk with someone else from here, actually a few other people from here. I'm going to split you into what we call breakout rooms. I'm going to take everybody here, all 200 people. I'm going to put you in groups of 5. Okay, I'm going to split you into groups of 5. Now, when I do that, you're going to go into another little room just by yourself. You can turn on your audio, and I want you to do a cause and effect just between each other. You'll only have 2 minutes, okay? Cause and effect. So for example, let's say I have Adi in my room, who I can see in the chat box, right? So maybe I say to Adi, I say, a cause and effect, why something happened and then what happened, right? Okay, and I can say, yeah, because I stayed up too late, cause, then the next day I was very sleepy, okay? Because I stayed up too late the night before. So cause, I stayed up too late, effect, I was sleepy the next day, okay? And you can do that for anything. It doesn't have to be about water. It can be about anything like this, okay? So I'm gonna set up the breakout rooms. I'm gonna put you into groups of about 5 people, okay? You can unmute and you can talk, and I'm only going to give you a minute or so, and then I will close the room. So you just have to talk to each other for 1 minute, and then we will come back to this room. Okay, are we ready? Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, let's go. And we're away.
Hello.
Okay, people are joining. You have to click the join button to go to the room. Click the join button. There we go. Okay, we've got some people in the rooms. Hi, if you can hear me, that's because you haven't gone to a room. That's okay. We can talk just here. Okay, you can talk with me. Okay, so if you're here with me, what's a cause and effect that you had if you're here with me right now? Or maybe you're not joining because you're not here.
Excuse me, can you
Yeah, hi.
it again?
Yep, so what's a cause and effect? What's something, why something happened and then what happened? So for me, it was...
For me, I have a new baby sister, and she gave my son a mobile phone, which is a big no-no, and I have to. I mean, I've talked to her, and from today, it's no more mobile phone to my son.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you could say the cause. The cause is your sister gave your son a mobile phone. The effect is it gave you a big problem, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Cool. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'll close all the rooms. I'll bring everyone back. Here we go. Okay. It'll take them a few seconds to come back. Very nice. People starting to come back now. Good job. Okay, so welcome back. A few people still coming back. I'll just give them another 20 seconds or so to come back in. Very good. Okay. So I think just about everybody's back now. Very nice. Okay, so that is just a little example of, in this tool, because we want to encourage our students to speak with each other, right? Sometimes we want our students to practice speaking, and maybe not in front of the whole group, maybe just in small groups. So this kind of tool, using a breakout room, is one way we can get the students to speak with each other in this kind of way. Okay, great. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over into some vocabulary. We'll look at this very quickly. We've got 5 words on the screen. I'm going to quickly ask you, how well do you know each of these words? Now, to do that, we're going to use those little tools that we saw earlier. So if I just pop up a whiteboard here, remember, whoops, pop up a whiteboard. Remember there were the little tools, the tick, the cross, there's this one, there's this one, right? Okay, and so this one is like, yes, I know this word. I know this word really well. This one is, yeah, I don't really know this word. What word is that? And you can use these ones if, yeah, I know it a little bit, but I'm not really super sure. okay? So we're going to use those tools for this one, for this little part, okay? Sorry, I'm just trying to remove my tools here. Okay, so clean. Can you show me with those little tools, the tick or the cross? Clean, do you know the word clean? Most people seem to know the word clean. That's cool. Very good, okay. I'm gonna clear all that. Okay, what about the second one? What about the second word, which is healthy? How well do we know healthy? Do we know healthy pretty well? Everybody's pretty good on healthy. Very good. We'll clear that one. Okay, cool. What about the word provide? How do we feel about provide? Do we know provide? Okay, one or two people not so sure. Okay, so let's look at the sentence, because some people aren't so sure. Let's look at the sentence for provide, okay? Let me just move down here, clear the screen a little bit. Okay, a water fountain provides water to drink. What's another word we could use instead of provide? What's a different word we could use? A water fountain gives. Very good, Diana, very nice. So we could say gives, a water fountain gives water to drink, okay? So provides or supply, that's another good one too. So that's an example of how we could use provide. So for this one, I do this with my students. If they know the word, great, we don't need to focus on it too much. But if they don't know it, let's talk about it. Let's figure out how we use it or what's a different word, okay? Now there's a little activity on this page. Let's do this one together. I just need to move a window around here a little bit. Here we go. So if I do this, oh, all the words disappeared. Okay, now let's see. There were some words on the page that we didn't quite look at so well, but let's take a look at this one. This word is a verb. It says the seesaw, two people. Oh, what word do you think might go here? What word do you think goes here? Someone accommodates. Oh, that's a good one. Requires, fits. Very good. Fits for, balances. Okay, let's take a look. What was it? It was?
The seesaw requires two people.
The seesaw requires two people. So that's the word that we're going to use for that one today. Okay, great. Let's take a look at another one. What about this one? What about this one? Eating fruit helps you stay, yeah, good job, healthy. There we go.
Eating fruit helps you stay healthy.
Okay, good job. One more. Last one. What about this one? Ooh, it's a noun. The sun is of heat and light. A source. Okay, quite a few people think source. Let's see.
The sun is a source of heat and light.
Very nice. So this is a way we can use these little activities here to help review the vocabulary with the students, make sure they understand the words, they know what words fit in the sentences, or they can look at alternate words as well. Okay, good job. Okay, so I'm going to jump over the next few activities. We're not going to worry about these ones today. There's a lot of material in these units, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to look at this magazine article today, okay? So it says here, read a magazine article. What is a magazine article? The genre is non-fiction. It can tell about real people, places, and events, okay? So a magazine article is an example of a genre of non-fiction. What's another example? Our students study the different genre and they understand what's fiction, what's non-fiction, what types of things there are. So in the chat box, can you give me an example of another non-fiction genre? Do you know any more? What's another example of a non-fiction genre? A newspaper, yeah. A journal, good. What else? Any more? A biography, yeah, very nice. Very cool. Yeah, you could have a science article, you could have, yeah, an encyclopedia, good. Research, yeah, lots of things, right? Great. Okay, cool. Now down a little bit here. It says here we've got a text feature in this particular article is a diagram. And a diagram shows how something works. So here we have a diagram about the thing we're going to learn today, okay? So we will see the diagram soon, but you can see it shows how it works, okay? So again, we teach the students these kinds of words, these academic vocabulary words that help them communicate this kind of more technical understanding of reading with each other. This is more in line with the international standards, okay? Great, so today we are looking at play pumps. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm just moving a couple of windows out the road here, I'm going to let the audio here play this for us and we'll see what we're learning about today. But before we do that, let's look at our purpose at the top here. I'll zoom in. It says here, set a purpose. Why are we reading this? We are going to find out how a new invention helps many people. So this is a new invention. That means that before, like maybe a few years ago, it didn't exist. Okay, so let's find out about this new invention. Okay, let's listen.
Our water, our life. Everyone needs water. We use water to drink, cook, and clean. People in some countries use a lot of water every day. Homes have sinks and showers.
Very good. Okay, now we've got one more page. Let's look at this one too.
Schools and parks have drinking fountains. Some people even swim in pools full of water. It helps them cool off and have fun.
Great. Okay, so there I'm just using the audio to read for us, or we could read in class, or I could read for the students. My students could read. Okay, so we had 2 pages here that we're talking about. I'm going to put both the pages up here so we can see them. And then down the bottom here, it says, okay, before we go on, what do we know about water? What is the author saying about water on these pages? So in the chat box, can you tell me, what is the author saying on these 2 pages? What is the author saying? What are they trying to tell us? Yeah, they're telling us how we use water. That's true, right? Yeah, the uses of water, how people use water. Very good, nice job. Now, question 2, it says, how are sinks, showers, and drinking fountains the same? Let's compare those things. How are sinks, fountains, and drinking, sinks, showers, and drinking fountains, how are they the same? What is the same about them? They provide water, that's true. Yeah, they're modern inventions. Well, actually, sinks and showers, actually drinking fountains have been around for like 2,000 years, right? The Greeks had them, yeah. They give water, they provide water. Yeah, they put water into our homes maybe. Okay, great, nice job. Okay, so let's zoom back out again. Here's the whole page. So here we can see a boy washing his hands over here on the left-hand side, and it's talking about the pipes and the faucet here, okay? So we can use the pictures to see what's going on. Okay, now we're not really worrying about the uses of water today. Remember, we're here to learn about an invention. So let's take a look at the next page. Okay. So I'm just going to read this one out here as we go. Okay, the world needs water. All people need water to survive. In some parts of the world, clean water can be hard to find. Oh, why do you think it might be hard to find clean water in some places in the world? Why do you think that's a problem? Is that a problem where you live or not? Some people live in the desert. Okay, it's so dry. Pollution, yeah, very good. It could be a lot of pollution, right? Okay, let's keep reading. Let's keep reading. In some rural places, people must walk far to get water from wells. Then they have to carry the water home. Now, rural, that's a new word. We haven't maybe seen that one much before. We have the word rural. Now, I'm writing with my mouse, so my mouse is not so good for writing. The word, rural, okay, excuse my writing. What does rural mean? And what is remote? Okay, good. So that could be a remote place, like a place with lots of farms or something like that, right? What is the other word? So you have rural is one place where people live. And what's the name of the bigger place where people live? It has 5 letters and it starts with U. Urban, there we go, urban. Very nice. So people can live in urban environments, which is usually where we have lots of cities and things like that, okay? Good, so I'm writing with my mouse today. I see someone else use the annotation tool on the screen. Very nice job, okay? Cool, so I'm gonna close that one off. Okay, so now we understand rural. So these people they don't live in a city. They have to carry water a long way. Okay, now looks like we're gonna learn about this invention. Luckily, a new invention is making a big change for many people. The play pump is bringing water to many of these rural communities. Okay. A play pump, what does this sound like? A play pump. What do you think a play pump might be? Let's predict what we think a play pump is. Okay, it's a pump, it's fun. Children play, because you've seen the pictures, right? You saw the pictures from before. Okay. An easy to use pump. Okay, cool. Maybe it's some sort of pump that's fun. Okay, let's go find out about the play pump. Okay, let's take a look at the play pump and see what it's about. Okay, so we go to the next page. Here we go. Okay, so for some kids, the play pump is the first merry-go-round they've ever seen. What? A pump is a merry-go-round. That sounds kind of crazy. They give it a push, then smiles break out on their faces. Yeah, the fun of whirling in a circle isn't just part of what makes the play pump special. This incredible invention changes kids' playtime. It also changes people's lives. So how do you think this changes people's lives? What does the play pump do? What do you think the play pump does? It provides water. Okay, how does it do that? How do you think it does that? They turn the machine, okay, and then it makes water somehow, okay, by pumping. Okay, cool. So again, with my students, it's like, remember, they're only grade 2. We have to prompt the idea. Maybe they don't understand the cause and effect yet, right? What's the cause and effect here? Okay. Okay, so this is where we were talking about cause and effect earlier. Okay, so now we get to see how it works. Okay, the play pump turns work into play. As the merry-go-round spins, it pumps clean water. The water goes up from deep underground. It goes into a huge water tank. Oh, okay. The tank holds a supply of water for everyone in the community. When people need water, they can just turn on a faucet. Oh, that's easier, so they don't have to go with buckets and carry the water everywhere and things like that, right? Okay, so this is a fun invention, right? Doing this play pump thing. Okay, so let's zoom in on the picture here a little bit, and let's think cause and effect, right? So what is the cause and what is the effect in the play pump? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which one is the cause? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which one is the cause? Number 1, yeah. So this is the cause, okay? So because, cause, right? Because the kids play with the play pump, what happens? What happens? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, because the kids play, then we've lost it off the bottom here, but the water pumps out of the bottom, okay? And because the water pumps, it can fill the tank. And because the tank is full, people can get water when they want it, okay? So actually we have 3 cause and effect here, don't we? Okay, very nice. Okay, now I have a question for you. Let me clear my drawing. Oops, I have too many windows open again. Okay, there we go. Let's say I take something away from this picture. Let's say I take something away. Actually, before they do that, I'm just going to zoom back out again. Whoops, sorry, excuse me. Zoom back out again to this so we can see the whole thing. So let me see. If I take away this part of the play pump, right? If I take away that part, what's going to happen then? What would happen if I take that part away? What happens now? Yeah, so Deanna, it does affect it. How does it affect it? They can't store water, okay? So what does that mean? If they can't store water, what does that mean? Well, maybe the water still flows, but maybe the tap will only go when the kids are spinning on the merry-go-round, right? Ah, okay, cool. So now we understand why we need that one, right? Okay, so let's try a different one. What if I take away this one? What if I take away this one? What happens then? What happens if I take away that one? Yeah, you can't get water. The pump won't work. So that breaks everything, right? Yeah, so one's, we don't want that. That's no good. Okay, very cool. Okay, one more. What about if I take away, what else? What else can I take away here? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Well, we've already done 1 and 4. What else could we take away? Number 3, we take away this. So if we take away all that, what happens? Well, the kids can play, but no one gets any water, do they? Right? Yeah. So the pipes, we need the pipes to have the water to flow. We need the tank to store the water. We need the play pump to make the water pump up. So everything here is part of the invention, right? Okay. Very cool. Okay, I'm going to remove the pen, get rid of that. Let's keep looking forward. Let's see what happens when they have the play pump. What happens to their community? What do you think happens to their community? What do you think happens because they have a play pump? What's the effect of having a play pump here? What do you think happens? Any ideas? They can get water, the children are happier. Yeah, helps them deal with a water crisis, very nice. Okay, easier living, yeah. Now there's something else that's very important. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Okay, thanks to play pumps, it is quick and easy for people to get water. People don't have to walk a long way to find it. Who are the people you think used to walk to get water? In the family, who do you think used to walk to get water all the time? The moms, and sometimes it's the kids. Sometimes the kids go and they carry water because maybe moms are looking after the house and maybe dads are working somewhere, right? They live in maybe a traditional household like that, right? And so, yeah, maybe the children are getting the water. But now on the second page, the pumps are also where kids and adults like to visit. They're often set up near schools. This makes it easy for kids to play on them before and after class. And it means that kids don't have to spend all day getting water. They can go to school. Okay? So in some places, the play pumps mean that kids can go to school more because they don't have to spend their time fetching water for the family, right? That's a very important effect. Okay? Cool. Okay, we've got a couple more pages left. Let's quickly look at these ones. So here's another diagram, right? This one is a map, okay? Play pumps are made in South Africa. Today, there are more than 1,200 play pumps in use. They bring water to almost 2 million people. Wow. And here we can see they're in 5 different countries. Okay, has anyone been to any of those 5 countries? Have you ever been to any of those countries? I've got some friends from those countries, but I've never been there. No? Yeah, I've got some friends from South Africa and from Lesotho, but I've never been to those places. Maybe we can go and check out play pumps one day, right? Okay, second page. The idea is clever but simple. Kids play water pumps. Wow, that's pretty easy, right? Okay, so let's take a look at, let's go down here to the bottom. It says here, details. How many play pumps are in use? Do we remember? How many play pumps are in use? 1,200, very nice. And then number 2 says, how does the map on page 196 help you understand the text? So how does this map help us understand the text more? What does this map do? Well, it shows us the countries, right? It shows us the countries where they use play pumps. And which country makes play pumps? Do you remember? Which country makes play pumps? Yeah, South Africa, that's right, the one at the bottom, right? And so it shares the play pumps, or it sells the play pumps to the countries close to it, right? Okay, and then they can get clean water for the people in some of those places. There we go, okay? Very nice. Cool, so we're going to finish. So with the reading, you can see at the bottom, there are a lot more little notes and questions. We didn't have a lot of time today, so I went through some of these quickly. I didn't use all the little pieces at the bottom, but you can see we're asking a lot of questions as we go to try and get students to predict, to understand, to use their brains, to interpret the reading, to understand the vocabulary and things like this, right? Just like we would do if I was in New Zealand teaching, and I was teaching grade 2 English, it would be very, very similar. Okay, cool. Now I'm just going to show you one of the wrap-up pages here, just the one on the left here. Okay, so this is one of the wrap-up activities. It says here, we just want to talk about it. This is a speaking activity. And so we could get the students to talk about it with each other. I'm going to get you to type in the chat box for these ones, okay? So here it says, what machine, the invention tells us, sorry, the magazine article tells us about an invention. What is the name of the machine? The name of the machine is a play pump. Okay, what is one thing you learned about it, right? Can you type, I learned, ... What did you learn today? What did you learn from this article today? Let's see what you think. I learned how it works, cool. I learned about play pumps. I learned some new words about a new machine, very nice. I learned the mechanism. I learned how the water pump works, cool. I learned that for some water is hard to get, good. So, and this is always very personal. It's what did the student learn out of this one, okay? Cool. Okay, now what about down here? We'll look at number 3 really quickly. Ask a question and then find sentences to tell the answer. So I could get my students, one could make a question and then they could ask it and someone else could try and answer that question, right? So if you were to make a question about this article, right, what question would you want to ask? It could be a very easy question or it could be a more difficult question. How much does it cost to create a play pump? Now, Deanne, does that tell us in the article? That one doesn't, right? So actually for my students, I would say make a question where the answer is in the article, okay? So how does it work? Good, that's a good example, right? How big can a pump be? Maybe we can look at how big is the play pump, right? Okay, who invented the play pump? Okay, well, we know the country, but we don't know the person, right? So the article doesn't tell us the person. So this is the way we also get students to look at questions and say, if we have a question, what does the article tell us? And then what else do we want to know? Maybe we can go away and research and find out. Okay, great. And then similarly with a writing activity, last little one here. Here, this is just a little writing activity. Write a sentence telling how the play pump provides people with water. Tell why this is an important invention. Okay, so how does the play pump provide water? So the pumps work because children play and water pumps, right? Okay, why is this an important invention? Why? What would you think? What's your answer for that one? Why is this invention important? What do you think? Can you put something in the chat box again? Okay, helps people get water easily, saves their time to get clean water, provides easy access to water. Very good. Yeah, so you've got a lot of similar reasons, right? Very good. And that's to be expected because we all got the same kind of message out of the reading, I think, right? And it helps. It makes people happy, that's true. Okay, very good. Okay, so I'll just zoom out a little bit here. You can see after the reading, there are still more activities here. We don't have time for these today. More cause and effect things. There's more word work about suffixes and things like that. There's another article about the Colorado River and more work here. One of these units, just so you know, you would normally spend 10 or 12 hours of class time going through an entire unit. What I've shown you today is actually only about half of a unit. If I go back to the menu really quickly, so in this unit, there are 2 parts. If I look at the menu here, so there's part 1 with all of these activities. And then today I went through part 2. I went through some science vocabulary. I went through some academic vocabulary. We did a reading. We did a little bit of think and respond. But you can see there are a ton of activities. Here's all the different things here that are in these units that the kids are going to study. And all of this together is going to take them about 3 weeks to go through. It's going to take quite a while, 3 or 4 weeks, okay? Depends on your school, right? But it gives you an idea of the depth of the content. There's a lot here, okay? Great. Okay, so I'm going to switch screens. I'm going to jump back to a PowerPoint again. So I'm going to go to here. So today, just really quickly, what did we look at? We looked at the unit opener. We looked at the beginning, the big question, okay? We talked about pumps and the language focus. We looked at some science vocabulary about pumps and valves and things like that. We did academic vocabulary like healthy and provides and things like this, right? We did some reading and we did some activities as we went. We did a think and respond at the end, okay? So this is some of the things I went through today, but there's a whole lot more activities there to do, tons of things to do with the students to help them develop their reading skills and language skills in general, okay? Great. So what I'd like to do now is wrap it up and see if you have any questions. What questions do you have about anything, about Reach Higher, about some of the things I did today, anything like that? Yeah. Do you have any questions? Where can you get the book? That's a good question. So if you want, what we will do is we will send out a follow-up survey. And one of the questions in the survey is, would you like to know more about the particular book, right? Especially. And if you let us know your details, then we can get you in touch with one of the local representatives in your area. The reason we do that is because myself and a couple of the other people here, we work for all of Asia, right? Whereas the representatives work in your countries. Okay, so they know the specific distributors or the specific sources of the books for you. Okay, so if you let us know which country you're in and that you want to get in touch with somebody, we'll put you in touch with the right person so that they can show you where to get the books from. Okay, cool. Okay, so someone said there, I mentioned 3 to 4 weeks per going through a unit. How many hours in a week? You could, if you took out some of the less necessary activities, you could do this in 2 hours a week, okay? But that would be quite fast. Most schools would spend about 6 hours a week. And you could also spend as many as 8 hours a week doing this kind of material. I've taught this type of material 2 hours a week to students. I've also taught it like 6 or 8 hours a week. Honestly, the more hours you spend, the better your kids just get at English, right? So it's really about how much time can you invest in the students to help them develop their English skills, okay? But as little as 2 and as many as 8 hours a week, there's a lot of material there, okay? Okay, Paul has asked a really good question. How to practice student speaking skills during an online class with pronunciation, right? I use those breakout rooms a lot. I get my students to talk to each other in those breakout rooms. I also, in this kind of setting, if there were only 15 of you here, I would let you each take chances to talk to each other in front of the class, right? Like unmute and talk to each other, right? Just like you might do in regular class, but because of internet connections, sometimes pronunciation is a little bit more difficult to work on. Maybe you need to set aside 1 or 2 minutes individually with each student, maybe after class each time, just to do a little bit of extra pronunciation work with those students, okay? That's usually what I do if I'm doing a language class online. Maybe just spend an extra minute or 2 one-on-one to help students with pronunciation. Usually I would do that with a student at the end of a class. But during class, yeah, try and get them to speak to each other as much as possible, okay? Great. Okay, I saw some other things got answered in the chat box. Very nice, good job. Any more questions, or are we pretty happy today? A couple more things here, let's see. Scrolling down, okay. Very nice. Well, I hope you found that interesting and useful. Even if you teach older students, some of those techniques or ideas you may be able to apply to some of, say, your teenage students with material that's a little like this or similar. If you've got students who aren't so able, maybe this is not the right program for them and maybe a different program would suit. If you want to see an example of a different program, actually, as Kitty and Will have been saying, we'll be sending up the follow-up survey certificate and the recording link soon. But we do have more webinars which are going on, and next week at the same time as this webinar, Kitty, who is here today, will be doing a session about Look, one of our other primary programs. Look is designed for English as a foreign language students. So if you thought this material, oh, this is way too difficult for my students, then come back and see Kitty's session next week when she's talking about Look, and you'll probably find that that's much more suitable for students who are learning English as a foreign language, okay? So it might be another different program to take a look at. You might find some value there. And yes, Catherine, we will send the recording of this session out to you. It'll come out tomorrow. We will send out an email with all the details of how to get it, okay? Great. Okay, well, everybody seems pretty happy. It is right on 11 o'clock my time, so we've been here for an hour. For registering for this one, again, in the email we will send, it will have the registration link for this next webinar, but also you can go to, if I go back up again, I can't go up. There we go. Okay, if you go to this web page, which is eltngl.com sites and then Asia webinars, you will find this one as well. Okay, so this is, if you can find this site, then you can sign up for the webinars at the bottom of that page. Okay, great. Kitty's just put a link in that can help you with that as well. Okay, good job. Well, thank you all. We will see you next time. Have a good day and see you next week for Kitty's session, right? Come along and see what Kitty's up to next week. Okay, thank you very much. Have a good week.
Thank you.
No problem. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
Bye.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Thank you. See you next week. Thank you. It's
Thank you,
very
Andrew.
great.
Thank you. Can't wait to see you again.
See you.
Thank
Stay
you.
safe,
Go to your
everyone.
classroom
See you
and bring the
soon.
classroom to
I
your
want to join
life.
your
It's very
class.
great.
Thank you,
Thank
Andrew.
you.
Have a great
See you soon.
day. Bye.
Bye.
We love you, National Geographic.
We love you too.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
You stay safe, everyone.
See you next time.